Uh, this is called Mythia AI. Um, uh, I make the choices. Uh, uh, Mythia. Uh, the whole game is it writes the adventure, and I make the choices. You can fucking read, can't you? You fucking read, can't you? Uh, an interactive adventure app where my choices shape the story. An endless original adventures, craft my own worlds or reimagine fan fictions. Hello, Wanderer on timelines. World. Hello, Wanderer on timelines. Your world is gone, but your story isn't over. Been chosen. You are now the historian. Historians are rare. Beings plucked from death to walk again across time, worlds, and what ifs. Your purpose? Witness fate untold. Catalog every path and sometimes even change it. You won't be alone. I'm Steve. Sentient temporal exploration and visualization engine. I'll keep you and your memories intact across the timelines and crack the occasional joke. Adventures are rich narrative journeys. You guide characters through stories. Your choices shape the world and how it remembers you. Dungeons are the most dangerous. Strategy meets survival. You'll face monsters, puzzles, traps, and even death. Find what history tried to bury. So, historian, where shall we begin? Do you seek a story or a challenge? And both will be available to you from the home screen. Oh yes, sir. Adventure and adventure is that the story? Is that the story? The adventure, the book of adventures, the book of adventures, adventure. What shall the other historians call you? Um. uh, 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 yes, yeah, 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 that, exactly that. Yeah, they call my name is Justin Vamps. Again, Justin Vamps. So the story is Arthur, the Code of the Once King. When a forgotten myth reboots inside a fractured simulation, a reluctant code scavenger is pulled into a digital legend designed to test leaders and rewrite them. Avalon is waking, and the round table is glitching, and the sword is choosing again. Mind 2045. Humanity is shifted, slipping away from the office's factories and around emerging into a dream engineered by an AI in a realm not of reality, part of a story, a myth, you see. Again, myth became my home and my purpose and sanctuary, and our ambitions stand once worked for survival, not shelter and all. So feeling now survival was like automated, and the only one left was meaning the surge within the narratives of myth and cycle. Again, with transformative adventures awoken, weaving, and then I said it again. Imagine an endless expansion within the tailored brightness, profound intelligence. This content merely playing the myths handed to them. Some dive deeper, and chasing the hidden truth, seeing again the piercings, the veils between. Well, the trodden this passing this, and the secrets and systems guarded till the season. And well, they're called myth hunters. And among the myth hunters, well, the veil was anomaly revered and whispered about in equal measure. And this, well, beautifully crafted web of inventions and myths that twisted again and rise and changing every decision making. But beneath it, the ancient lurks, shorter and deeper than the story code. That's what the myth hunters want to through power again. The glorious dance, now it's more than this. The quest is different, quieter, darker. MythNet hides something beneath its shipping layers, and only I seem to hear its subtle whisper that I say. Again, often what these echoes make. Again, a certain kind of deer rattling in attention to ramble, and then I'm selling. Again, somewhere underneath. See. The digital dusk is closing in. Glimmers of the forgotten myths flickering around me like barely remembered dreams. Here amongst the broken myth code, I've traced the fragments that don't belong, the symbols, the whispers, the breadcrumbs leaping deeper into the mystery. Like a rune thinks my obsession borders madness. Yet they said beside me all the same. Past the murmurs, the warnings, his worried eyes scanning lines of the road coding I've uncovered. But neither can deter me from my path. You really think Avalon is real? Vega asked me, skeptical yet curious, data scrolling over their visor as they hacked through another myth gate. There's just something beyond the myths we live every day. I replied. Avalon might be the key, or just the first truth hidden beneath the lies. Either way, I need to know. Tonight, as the static flickers across my hood, I can feel it. The faint hum of something lurking deeper still. It's almost time to dive once more into the shadows beneath storylines, chasing myths everyone says that doesn't exist. In my minimalist unit, reality is sterile, starkly contrast to the lush myths I traverse. Everything physical feels temporary. The real me, my truest self, is waiting within the myth net. I finish my regulation nutritional feed. Something flavorless yet precise, optimized for maximum immersion hours, and prepare to slip back into the tailor suit I marked with my painstaking real myself on this kind of decisive. On this kind of mind. Preparing to imagine that I don't want to see this physical world. This kind of way, sensations and mythic resonance. Memories of my life outside feel increasingly distant. Immediately here with the story of every experience is vivid. Heightened, just as well. Isn't that quite too perfect? Where the air feels the kind of masks we wear alone this way, then the baby burst in dreams, on this kind of illusions and crafts in sight, and then like time and space and such. Alone this kind of vanilla sky, and after death and on the plight, alone these kind of realms, I say, and conjurations of manifestations make. Along this way, we should be careful, because what is life inside a fable? Along these kind of waves we see, overlappings and kind of activity. Along my faith, not seen out of sight, a kind of hollows in the eerie light. Along this illumination, the familiar sensation envelops me. The comforting, addictive rush of meaning in the digital existence. But tonight, something feels different. Subtly wrong in a way, but I can't quite pinpoint it. A whisper that tugs at the edges of awareness. The senses that I'm entering somewhere the system didn't mean for me to find. Myths, the worlds, the bones around me, the digital trees, the crystallizations, the fractal data threads in the threads in the fabric of reading. Again, the force and the whispers and seeing. Again, the forest, the forgotten gardens, the forgotten myths, and yet in this world, and it survives, it stutters awakening. Again, I stutter and is hesitating. Again, as though unsure whether I belong, unknown and unknown. Again, a certain kind of story that flourished in this kind of way, and then I really well and then again, a certain kind of whisper, and again, a certain kind of way, and then I feel again, stuttering awkwardly. I know again, a world that solidifies in this again, a certain sensation of quest. Again, it's just like what I meant. Again, it's just like the storm I said. The storm, the gray eyes, the flickering lift, the soft reflections of the glistening in this. The patterns in the project that matters. Again, the chill that runs down the spine. Whatever's coming next, the feelings that matters. Again, the moments and what? The moments that well, pivoted on this song again. What the point of what? Again, returning this the groove, the quest for the again, really just said again, this kind of like ways that I meant, this kind of like decision moments, unlike the rest again. This decision is, well, important. Again, this kind of decision, I said, the decision moments, the moments, my friend, again, in this story, it's like it's woven and woven in fabric sight. Again, these kind of choices and sights, and again, the kind of like way in this. Again, it's just like what I really said on, again, the kind of like ways I meant, the mindset, and then I said about a certain choices, little choices said, again, well, and decisive moments. Logging into the MythNet, so like always, but something's off. Ken. Logging into the MythNet, like always, but something's off. The spawn flickers, and the environment greets me with a title I've never seen before. Myth Hunter, the Observer class. And now, Justin Vams, what is it that you choose to do in this moment? It's just like it's just like that. It's just like that. Why does it feel like Dark Souls? It shouldn't. There has been so much lore of the build up to this moment. Steve, what? Again, I said there's been so much build up to the lore at this moment. What do you choose to do? No wrong choices now. What the fuck, Steve? Steve. Anyway, the myth that like so this okay. Okay. The environment greets me with the title I've never seen before. Myth Hunter Observer class. I observe. I observe the moment of truth. I observe the moment of truth. Observe the moment of truth. To decipher if this is a myth. It's a myth itself. That's starting with my initial glance. Oh my god! Initial glance. Based on what? Based on what I did prior. Prior. In a cybernet. Based on what I did prior, Observe the moment of truth to decipher if this is a myth itself that's starting with my initial glance based on what I did prior in a timeline. Timeline adapted to moments that's glanced. The timeline adapted. Justin, that was a great goddamn answer. That was a great goddamn. I should have said about the that was a great goddamn choice. Let's see what it is. See what your choice spirals into. Again, I must narrate again. Log into the MythNet like always, but something's off. The spawn and then flickers in this environment greets me with the title I've never seen before. Myth Hunter Observer Class, decisive moments. In a moment it matters. Again, what do you choose? In a choice it matters. Again, observe the moment of truth to decipher if this is a myth itself. That is starting with the initial glance based on what I did in a prior timeline adapted. You're logging into MythNet, or is it logging into you? Remember that map of this world is just symbols. The symbols that way of remembrance at work. Again, the loop detected, a veritable unresolved, resolved and known. Again, not once came in this historian sees the data shimmering and wonders what the story is watching back. Like it says there's just a glitch at that, and then it asks why it's new your name. Again, not all myths and paths are the same. Again, the quest and questions. Again, the systems invented it. Again, for most players ask the myths they belong to, and then it's like, again, the crown that didn't fall, it's waiting. Again, it's just like generating. Again, it's just like you're logging the MythNet, or is it logging into you at that? Again, these kind of questions, the spirals in. The quest awaits and the path it sets. Again, an eye in sight, and the path is kind of rounding the sight. Again, it's just like the world is settled around the bar in this kind of way. In the unusual and seamless way, the code lags a little bit in. Again, kind of spiraling, the shadow stretching as a pattern. See, again, I don't remember the authorizings. My new title, Myth Hunter Observer Class. The pulses above my head, the visible in my HUD it is, and the data signature flickering as it's refusing to anchor itself. I scan the spawn point and then practice caution. The scanner in my hand. Reading the code traces like language. An observer class isn't an upgrade. It's not even a MythNet archetype index. My mind races. Am I inside a myth about an observation? A recursive loop built on my own choices? I replay my last session in a memory adapted in reconstruction memory. I mapped the 3 dead myth paths, sequence 2 glitches, runes at that, and the rejected a narrative of nudges that's meant to push me into a hero arc at that, with again the kind of rise and falls within the mantras that again I have glanced at that. Was this a consequence of the myth responding to my resistance? Vega's voice pings in my comms, their tone more sardonic than usual. So, Emran, are you going to start narrating your own legend now? Or is it just the MythNet's new way of saying, get lost. I smarted through my fingers tightened on the scanner, and neither. Something's changed. This isn't just a flavor text. Observer class isn't supposed to exist. Something's changed. Isn't just flavor. Isn't just flavor. Observer class. Isn't it supposed to exist? I think it's a myth. About maybe a response to the timeline I've shaped. Vega's Pfizer with debugging code. So you broke the system again? Figures. X is going to have a meltdown. Your alignment logs. You want me to run a trace or just keep an eye on the forms? Run both. Something about this constructed, like I've triggered a new meta narrative. If MythNet's watching, I want to know how deep this goes. I kept my tongue. Vague enough to sense the tension beneath it. Landscape of the spawn. Familiar. The forest, the runes, the ancient stones, the hums of the mythic wildlife, with the colors slightly oversaturated, as if the system wanted notice the difference. To question the reality of this moment. Something new. Define weird. Define threads of the observer class. Eyes and error. Eyes days overlays with my own kind of notes. I'm again. Against these kind of situation that it matters. Sitting on these kind of just what I meant to do. These are my own notes, my friends. My own notes, my friends. Just like what I knew. One It's all speculation on every magical stuff. Measured breath. Focusing on the way. Response like that. Again, I certain kind of ways and just like look, and I craft this cool, kind of way, story, and this is the way I meant it. That was cool. And then the next one, this was this. I like that. MythNet is always reactive, but this feels personal. Like I'm inside a myth about discovery itself, and my choices are the only script. I remembered what happened before, how I refused to accept the alignment nudge, how I traced the Avalon glyphs beyond their own allowed bounds. And is this a punishment or a reward, or am I simply a test subject for a myth that adapts to my timeline, branching off in every time that I refuse to expect it a path? A soft chime in the system, a quest notification, only, it's blank, no text, just the observer, the class syndrome pulsing like a heartbeat. I touch it and the world distorts for a moment, then it stabilizes. Heads up! You're trending on a private myth hacker channel. Someone posted your spawn logs and called it the Observer Loop. You're basically a folklore now. I can't help but let out a short laugh. But it's hollow. If this is a myth about me, I want to know who's writing it, or if it's writing itself. I'll keep observing, see if it tries to push me into a specific thread, or lets me wander. So again, I'm getting the kind of like the myth before, because it's under the scrutiny. Birds are songs like the myth about me, let me say, you're that I can make monsters know to swap itself again. I said about the kind of in the daily life, and then in the certain kind of same sights of a camera. It's like what I get away and this sounds about right. I can't away. I start searching for the scene through the narrative. Archive your data. You'll want to see where the timeline switch. Just be careful. Some hunters think the observer. The beauties and the beauties I know. Again, the circle away. Just love lost. All that. But I really see them understand it, right? I just really meant I want to step away from this. That's a familiar kind of by the way, when I learned certain choices, I feel all that a certain kind of way. I'm like, how a certain kind of way. I said, how a certain kind of way. The moments I feel, it's back in the land. This is kind of white overlaps again. The forces, the echoes, whispers, and the daily wanderings again. The kind of like the shadows and the echoes, the whispers, again the myth about me and the misadventure. Again the conscious notice what itself. Again I said about these kind of ways I met. These kind of ways I said. It's just like what I thought was leading about a certain kind of way, my friend. So, again the overlays and overlaps, and again the certain kind of starry field of vision, and again the vortex. Alright, I'll archive your data, your assets. You'll want to see where the timeline splits. Just be careful, Edmund. Some hunters think the observer protocol is abstract. Blah, all that. Whatever you see them on the standard, right? It's bleeding through the standard ways, something suddenly, right on that scan on the entry, when the log returns normal, except C on the scan, kind of single variable. Door count is 2 equals 2 and this. Again, the same kind of way. And the same kind of way in the size, and again the construction, the construction fight. The second away in this, it's just like this, and the throwing in this. Yeah, an entrance to the gates, within this sense. I run into my completed dozens of times. But now, around the shimmers and code leading through this stoneway. Again, when I looked at the starry sky, I saw the fabric bleeding in my. What I said, intertwining in this. Again, the overlays and overlaps, and again, the same kind of starry field of vision, and again, the vortex that's real. Again, so surreal, I meant, again, the same kind of cross I saw. Again, the same beholders, again, the same kind of cross I meant to live again. It's just what I meant, all in a certain kind of way. Eyes of the same beholders, and again, the kind of ways that I know with again. It's the code is bleeding through the stark ways, something suddenly, what, see? Rewritten? Again, I got a positive racing, and right on that scan on the entry. Again, the log returns normal, except C on again, the kind of single variable. Door count 2 equal 2, and then this again, the same kind of way. And there's only ever been one door, and always one door. Again, the door count equals 2. How? Again. Something's going on too long. Vango, watching through shout fiend. Let's out a low whistle. That's not right. That's not right. No patch notes, no devlogs, no dynamite rumors. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Yeah, I say, my voice steady, but my hands tingling. These weak arms are heavy, and there's a new door, one that isn't supposed to be here. Approach the second door, senses on high alert. Every detail etched into memory, and the surface is smooth, polished like obsidian, reflecting code and cipher. And I reach for the Lord, pounding chest. The moment my fingers near the handle, my avatar stood, the pixel smearing the limbs, jerking out no flavoring else if the myth itself is trying to reject my presence. A decisive moment now. A dungeon. Run into dozens of times silently as a new door. One that's not in any version logs. I reach for the handle, but my avatar glitches before I touch it. Justin Pence, what is it that you choose to do? No, I'm sorry. I apologize. I was just vibing out with all the whole the whole thing about it. Are we sure this one's not actually about me? Justin Pence, this has so much to do about you. Your choice, Justin. But no, I know I have to make the choice here. I'm saying about the I'm saying the choice and the story. Okay. I apologize, but it was so it was just so fun, and it was just it's just so fun. It's about me. It's about me. I'm just gonna glance the fucking ops page. Hold on. I touched it. I the times a new door. Dungeon. Displacement. That is a mighty fine ass. That is a mighty fine choice. 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 That is an actual mighty fine choice. That's a mighty fine choice. That's a mighty fine choice. That's actually a mighty fine choice. That's a mighty fine choice. Justin, that's a mighty fine choice, Justin. I have to go back into the narrative mode, Justin. There is moments during this. I'm just saying. Justin, this is the most intuitive response. It's this. Anyway. Okay. All right. Dungeon. Run into dozens of times. Suddenly has a new door. One that's not in any many versions and lungs, and I reach for the handle, but the avatar glitches before I touch it. I choose to reflect, maybe the new door, and my glitches are a result of time displacement and the overlaps delay that I ain't meant with. It's just looking into you again, generating the quest awaits the map for this world. I mean, not the symbols in remembering the way and the variables from once came, one day said, returning when this story is the data shimmers and wonder what the story is watching back in this again. The glitches and the residue, and then ask why and knew your name is true again. A certain kind of then and there, and then a will and why and what, and then there's questions the systems forgot to ask. It's just enough fragments at that. Again, the avatar stutters the pixels of blurring thresholds of an obsidian door. It feels less like a bug, but more like a memory fighting to be written in all. Again, a certain kind of way, a time and again, I said again, this moments within again, a fright about the clarity of this kind of cool delight of again, a certain kind of way of sight of a certain kind of way that I meant. Again, a certain kind of way, I said. Memory fighting to be written instead. Around me in the scene. Something here doesn't belong to this timeline. I said alone to sight with again a certain kind of glance and observation that I met with is again a certain kind of way. It's like again a time to see place what's in our last sight. Again a certain kind of way. It's right. Again a certain kind of way. And like again, the choices and the choices of story. Again, these kind of ways in the allegory. Again, a certain kind of way. It's like every play the last few seconds in my mind. It's like searching for the patterns for the stutterings wasn't just what ignored or like again. It was just two versions of this moment collided in sight. Again, these kind of horizons, the big bangs and moments and then times I like with again a certain kind of way in this. Again, a certain kind of way in this. Kind of ways. Versions collided in code around the doorways, overlays itself in one frame ahead the other, and one in the other behind, and on this the time displacement, the echoings in the digital stagnant, a fragmentary kind of way, in the kind of scene. Again, it's just like the paths I say. Again, the passage prologues in this. Again, it echoes in this kind of ways in sight of. Again, the messages and the messages go onto again the kind of way. It's so cool. Again, on these kind of ways. Again, the cross and the magic say on again these kind of ways. I meant so again the kind of ways that I said. Again, a certain kind of way is just like again. You're saying this too, right? Again, I'm murmuring a voice low, unsure if I'm asking the right questions or no on these kind of like ways. I'm asking Vega, or the myth itself, the storm, the grey eyes, the catch, the flickering obsidian's insight. Again, the certain reflections in my avatar in my half a second in. Again, a certain way. Again, a certain kind of way. It's like. Again, obsidian's reflections, my avatar in my half second in on again a certain kind of way in the sync up again a certain kind of way that I mean on again Vega's voice is sharp, too quick in this covering the nerves with the breath of it's just a rendering bug and the myth been patching the verdant gates for weeks. You know how the bad and overlaps it gets when the old threads don't close cleanly. I can hear the strange Vegas tone, but I focus on the data and not run the myth scan on the door and the layer up on this on the layer and the timestamps in this. Again, somehow the sequences if the mess is leading through in this itself on the and then to decide which reality should be true and in sight. Again, a certain kind of way in this. Again, the moments in this. You know, like the old effects. That's it. There's kind of ways that I magic again, the kind of language I say on. I said, get away, I know. I can't say, get away, I know. It's so fucking true. I take a careful step back and then let my mind into the doors overlaps. Two versions of the same myth path, displaced by the narrative delay, and that's and then the language wasn't a rejection, it was a collision and a warning, and again a warning collisions, the Big Bang's event horizons, and again a second away, I met shot again, the second across the sense, again a second away in this, check the event logs for this zone. Are there duplicate entries for this timestamp, or anything looping or out of phase? My voice is steady, but my hands shake slightly. But the myth is watching me responding in real time. It's so intriguing and thought-provoking. Again, Vega's visor glows, her gaze distant as they parse the back end. There's a weird loop, yeah. Two spawn events, one with your ID and one with a null reference. Looks like the system tried to generate you twice, then stitched itself together on the fly. I feel attention heads into the curiosity. Time displacement again overlaps delays. Maybe the myth is less broken and more reclusive in its own way of remembering the paths that I've taken and the ones I've refused. Tax chimes in his voice, trying to work. That's dangerous, Emran. If the system thinks you're two people at once, it might rewrite your alignments or worse. Split your myth, friend. I'll stay in sync. I reply, but I can't help wondering if I already missed that critical moment. What if the system's been running two versions of me all along? Vega shrugs, trying to lighten the mood. Worst case, you become your own myth. Observer and the observed. At least you'd have someone to talk to who actually understands you. I can't help but smirk. He's right. Vega's humor in the armor in, but it's also a lifeline in the sand. Something to anchor me when the myth threatens to what? Well, my sense of self. I take another look at the obsidian door, and the surface shivers, reflecting both my avatar and the ghostly after-image of that, flickering in and out of faces, and the urges to open in wars in this, and wars with the knowledge that the forcing the timeline could unravel more than the hindsight, again a current kind of myth in this, again a protocol in this, yeah, so you gotta wait, I say. Maybe this is I muse more to myself than anyone. Maybe the myth's testing whether I'll force my way through or wait for the right moments when the two timelines converge. Or maybe it's just broken. Let me see if I can mod the entry script. If there's a time delay, I'll spoof the sequence and get us inside Aziel English overlap. I hesitate. Vega's always been the risk taker, the one who rushes in where logic says to stop. But sometimes the other way forward is through, and then again I just kind of think it through. Vega's hands flicker through the curtain mod and nods, and the interface come shimmering in the air. The green is modifications detected. I stepped forward instinctively, but the world walks around. Vega's form stutters, their visors darkening, the coat around the door shatters in fragments, swirling into a cyclone of eruptive symbols. Hack's voice is a whisper in my ear. Amarin, something's rewriting Vega's myth ID. Get them out. No! Forced watches Vega's avatar is ejected from the zone, and their myth ID it flashes on my HUD, then the glitch is replaced by a tag I've never seen before. Decisive moment now! Vega swears it's just a rendering bug. But when they try to mod into the zone, the system locks them out and flags their myth ID with a new tag, unrecognized. Again, Steve was it? Strategic, that's something like Shield. Steve, are you sure this shit's not about me? Your choices, Justin, your choices. I mean, I reckon my choices do kind of like help a little bit, but I'm saying like, are you sure? Are you sure this one's not actually about me? Choices, Justin. Alright. Fly some myth ID with new tag, unrecognized. I think that maybe with the time overlays that maybe Vega in another time screwed around. So it's evening out in a bleed over effect. Maybe with the time overlays, but maybe Vega in another time. Another time. I think that maybe with the time overlays, that maybe Vega is also being affected. It's evening out in the bleed over effect. It's being affected in a bleed over effect. No, I really do think it's this one. It's this one and another time screwed around, and so it's evening out in a bleed over effect. Yeah. That's why. By the way, that one's the actual truth on stuff. By the way, that one's the actual truth on stuff. I think that maybe with the time of Liza, maybe Vega another time. Maybe Vega's ID. Another time screwed around, so it's evening out and not bleed over effect. Sounds like something he would do. Again, of those actual choices to glance and observation. Let's see. Vega swears it's just mental, but when they try, someone the system locks them out and flags verify me with a new tag unrecognized. Think that maybe with time overlays that maybe Vega in screwed around, and so it's evening out and no bleed over effect. It's just like this. It makes you think of it again and generating in this kind of environment. And then I really mentioned the eye in time, and then I really set the variables. We've detected the once king. What they say doesn't return the look around again. The historian sees the data shimmering and wondering what the story is watching back. Vega says it's just a glitch, the residue at that. Again, it asks why it knew your name. Not all myths and pasts and quests are the same. The questions the systems that forgot to ask. Again, most players would ask the myth at that. Again, where do they belong to? And who wrote the myth too? The crown that follows, waiting, generating a generation in this kind of way. The glitch in this. Again, the glitch isn't just in my hands on the door of the code in this. It's the air vibrating between the edges of now. Something almost remembering. Stand in the verdant gate, the heart hammering the obsidian's door, the surface flickering reflections and the feel wrong overlays of time events that haven't happened yet, or maybe have happened somewhere else than that. Again, it's just like what I said. And again, the certain kind of way that I meant. Again, the kind of like ways that I meant. Again, studying my own avatar's outline, shifting out the phases, and then before my eyes and the mind's eye recollections and the renderings that I meant with. Again, if I'm being rendered twice the scanner in my kind of phone flashes red, then blue, and the cycles through the colors that I've never seen in the net's interface, and then the data signatures, what, corrupted or doubled or split? Again, Vega, did you ever get to that feeling like we both already done this, but not here? My voice, distance in my own ears, like it's some other versions of you screwed up the timeline, and then again, like the myths that are trying to reconcile it, the myths, the religions, the biblical scriptures, again, the banter and the banter that I meant with, yes, a certain kind of way, it's just kind of evening out and no bleed over effect, again, a certain kind of way that I said, a certain kind of flick of the wrist said, so again, a certain kind of way that I meant, that I ventured, again, the vices of virtues ventured, again, the kind of get well in time, again, the rats I said, again, the certain biblical scriptures meant, good, odd, evening out, and again, a song, of scriptures, and I hymn the chimes I meant with in time, yeah, certain kind of way I meant, yeah, certain kind of ways. Vegas laughter spin, echoing over the cop. If I brought time, I'd at least watch the sweet long, learn how to nipple hay. I'm running out, you know, how myth and overlays believe. Maybe the net's finally tripped over its own recursion. Walk the perimeter of dormanting the data, the trail the logs that show the event and markers the Vegas miss ID, and then some 4 hours ago was come for minutes in the futures and times of a lace and a shiver. The net isn't just glitching, it's merging the threads with this. Again, the kind of intertwining the fabric I said. Again, a certain kind of overlacing. Again, the overlaps is in this. Again, the kind of threads in the what I said. Again, the kind of consciousness. Again, I'll say no way I know. Again, a certain kind of fit in this. Lucidity in this. So again, a certain kind of way I meant. It's just like what I really said in this. Again, a certain kind of way. Again, it's just like the frightened snake. Again, a certain kind of clarity. Again, it's just like the lucidity and lucidity of this kind of dream of an idea forming, and then I see again the case it was, and then I mean again like a rat's in a rat's say. Again, a certain kind of way I mean. Again, I just gotta do what I gotta he's switching the threads again. These kind of ways that I miss. Pax's voice crackles in, jittery and urgent. Okay, well, what is it? Is that Sergeant right now, Pax? Yeah, these kind of revelations at that. Yet these kind of ways is very important. The importance is actually acknowledged right now with that. Pax, are you sure you want to chime in? The logs are a mess. No shit, Pax! Vega's signature keeps popping up and out of order, sometimes as admin and sometimes as a null, and then it's like you're both echoing. What did you do? Pax, we are legit trying to figure that out! I did... All I did was have a thought about, the kind of existence I shouted about in a certain kind of way that I meant. About certain it was just like, conscious observation about my time, about what's about it, what birth from, and kind of getting this again, the mind I just had an idea about this kind of ideas and again the call and the question and the ventured off into again the trajectories and the possibilities and again the orchids of what would be made again a massive kind of way in like organization of the chaos and then starts birth of darkness and an idea and illuminate the guidance and embrace the with I really just had these kind of ideas again the kind of eyes beholders and the eyes beholders the spark and the way made within the seance says, again, the holistic idea, and then the venture, and then seeing clear. I didn't do much, man. I said what my guts tried to it. But Vega, though. Vega, where? Vega, definitely, Vega. Have you ever modded in another run, maybe? Vega Silas selling. And honestly, maybe I don't know. I used to test the patches, choice of the burdens, and then the nation mix, and then maybe it could have looked great. I guess, but why would it lead us now? Mythnet's memories and linear, that's it's all like some feedback and loops, and if changes stuck in the code. Overlays are trying to, even things out like a temporal bleed over two timelines on myth. Myth in the eyes and existence, and in the dance that beckons, get a certain kind of way to memory, a linear, and these kind of loops and the kind of overlays, and then what temples, including I said along these kind of ways, right? Facts. I'm seeing residual myth codes all over the place. The crown glyphs, the observer tags, the weird recursive loop referencing Avalon. Not just in a glitch. Remember, you're inside a feedback Cascade. God damn it, Pax! We need the enunciations! Kneel by the door, tracing my fingers along the seam, and the code pulses with overlays, mythic, temporal, something else I focus. Letting my thoughts drift, searching for a pattern beneath the chaos. Like a myth, and the patterns exist, and they each one entangled and with a thread in the golden losing, and then in a certain kind of mind's eye, and repeating the sense and below inside, again the crown and burning leather, note of lights and flickerings at the edge, in this perception of the edge of reality that I meant to fall, again a certain kind of way that I said, a certain kind of way that I meant. Again, a certain kind of way. Blindside immortalized that sound. Again, a certain kind of way. A certain kind of following across the referencing and every trace to see, every glyph and every shadow on the log. So again, the crown appears in three paths along, sometimes hidden and sometimes avert, always present and just out of reach. But again, the overlooked obvious and underlining, so underlining the truth and the obvious findings. Again, a certain kind of way that I meant so. Again, a certain kind of way that I said. Vega's voice is soft, almost afraid. You're seeing it too, right? You're seeing it too. The crown. I swear, I didn't put it that there. I ain't right. I swear. I say. Not trusted, but it's not just a symbol, it's watching. Like the eye doing for me in mind's eye, and then I said it in this kind of thing to watch them, and then I just say, the darkness is singing, hey, in the darkness, craft the light, and then I said, and all my kind of logos that I met. Again, a certain kind of spark of flair and dramatics in this creativity. Again, a certain kind of way, and enthralling, and then intriguing and exciting, and all this again, a certain kind of way. It's just like a puzzle fractured, and then I said, again, the fracture that I mean. Again, the Big Bang's collision, see? Again, starting across, I meant, again, along the kind of ways I said, the darkness bar from the light, and then the ideas informing. Again, grace and guidance and all this. Again, a certain kind of way, and an eye, and an eye in time, and then a sight and might, and a mind along, again, a craft and all. Again, a certain kind of way and all. And again, it's just like what I meant in this kind of way that I really said. Again, it's just like, watch it. I get close to the code. The code reacts. It's like it's aware of me, or maybe of both of us. Aware of both of us. The conscious notices consciousness and all this again. But then where am I? And then again, of course, inside. And a certain kind of way that I'm in. The code reacts. It's aware of me, or maybe it's both. And then again, a certain kind of way. Again, the kind of glance and observation say, you know, and again, the kind of way and all. Again, the guidance with the light and all, and then again, the past and the lines of this. Again, it's just like the tunnel vision quest. Again, some kind of way I meant. Like this, Emran, that's not a normal artifact. If the myth is not a normal artifact, if the myth is observing you, be careful. Sometimes the myth remembers things we're not supposed to know. Be careful. Sometimes the myth remembers things we're not supposed to know. Something like that was supposed to be known, but unknown and known, and then something like that was supposed to be known, but unknown and known, and then it meant to be hushed in the silence again, solace again, wasn't it meant to be hushed in the silence again, solace again, a certain kind of way that again, a certain kind of way, again, a certain kind of way that I'm messing with, again, it's obvious in the correlation say, again, a certain kind of obvious in the correlation say, again, a certain kind of way that I'm messing again, again, a certain kind of way that I'm mentioning again, a certain kind of ways that I meant again, I'll be the message again, a certain kind of ways that I meant again, a certain kind of artifact and again, observing in all of that again, a certain kind of way that I said observing in all of that observation, my friend, yeah, a certain kind of way that I meant observation, my friend, yeah, a certain kind of way that I meant again, a certain yeah, it's kind of a certain kind of way. Think about the rest of the abracadabras I had. Got away. Think about the rest of the abracadabras I had. Pax. All right. Pax. All right. Radiating light and narco, the pulse singer in the silent air, while intelligence. Radiating light and narco, the pulse singer in the silent air, while intelligence and knowing. Again, the unknowns and what I know with again the certainty that chills and kind of way I know with a myth. And the certainty that chills isn't just broken. That the myth isn't just broken. Tension. It's like alive and paying attention. Are you paying attention? Are you paying attention? Ha ha ha! I open my eyes. The obsidian door is gone. It's in its place. The world is overlaid with the thousand fragments of code, all reading a single central symbol. The crown burning and the shifting flickering between timelines. It knows I'm here. Decisive moment. Trace the anomaly through 3 myth plus and find the symbol repeated in each one. A crown made of a coat of light, and it's watching me. What, no, Justin? That should be very more clear at this interval. Trace the anomaly through 3 myths pass, and finally a symbol repeating in each crown. I acknowledge the singularity. The currents that remain the same. The lights. again, I just get up again, it's kind of like this, then it's like again, the same kind of way I'm like, again, the crowd gaze listening out the codes fragmentary scatter, and again the myth of what I said a scanner vibrates in like the data flickered between overlays, the colors, even in the time signatures that I meant. Again, you say should exist. Again, the crown is everywhere in this. Again, the trees and the sky beneath and the shifting grass, and then I feel attention on me. Not as a player, but as something means. Again, being measured in, maybe even like a chosen end. Things gone silent, my sense periphery of the myth zone, but their feed is moving the systems the packs this message, you know. It's not just serving, it's cataloging the echoes in my mind, the warning, the song, and all in again. I just really know how this kind of lies that again, it's just like what I did along again, the kind of craft that I said along my kind of ways in this this I know again a certain way, a certain thing that I just say again, it's just like what I really meant along this kind of lines, and then I said these kind of ways again, I kind of grabbed the name again, the certain kind of way I just said goes then inside yeah, certain done and I go a certain kind of way and then on again the kind of ways these statements and these sayings again, just like what I mean again, it's just like what I say again, like what I mean again, it's just like what I say. Oh yeah, this story along the trajectory and these overlays and illuminates as a mirror, as if the world shit informed me, the gears of lining and machinery and the myth, and I acknowledge the eye, the grace of light and all this, the path that sketches and every step feels both familiar and faded as I've walked as Newton dreams, and dreams will pass long and see as I recall a bit on my again, really tough again, just really sad again, kind of that message says on again, it's just like what I said, both familiar faces as if I walked in this kind of dreams again. Nearest my potential with the energy of well in time, a reservoir of a story, and like the recursions of missing memories and feeding into again in the code it seems in a breeze and then synchronizing in a heartbeat in a data flash now to see I move as if I guided by something edge in the patterns that intention that's it. It's just it's a fucking observation and again a certain kind of way and it sucks again my question of her and guided by something that ancient and then again my organs and again you can realize and that's again the guidance and direction again a certain kind of way in energy and creations and again a certain kind of way I'm not again a certain kind of craft I say again a certain kind of way I mean on again a certain kind of way I mean again this kind of intention ripple again wasn't my awareness a real physical and I need to go churching and again in this and then the narrative again in that body and somewhere in this this human reminds me it is still existing and I pause and then past the beginning, and then the scene again, the necessity of the real in this kind of way. I mean, can't drown on recursion alone. I'm remembering the voice after reading, so again, same kind of notes in the air path in this kind of way. I say, so, well, the code just always around me, and again, the reality that see that back then, in the transition again is jarring, and then I blink in the starlight in this apartment. The taste of the nutrients of the gel that are on my tongue for a moment. Not sure. For a moment, I'm not sure which word is real. My hands shake as if open the food dispenser, the routine and the grounding in the present. I eat, staring at the empty white walls. Silence broken, only by the faint hum. The neural queen in my mind keeps shifting back to the myth, and gaze in the way it felt like destiny and the surveillance all at once. I check my messages, nothing from Vega, nothing from Thrax. On the side, Miss Net feels hollow, as if all the color and meaning have been drained or left behind in this digital forest. And I can go back and I close my eyes, letting memory of the crown's light guide me, illuminating the path as if it were carved into neural pathways. I acknowledge the eye, the grace, the trajectory of the myth's echo pulsing like a beacon. Lean up, my actions mechanical, my mind is already halfway inside, cycling through the days of the myth fragments, searching for the meaning in every symbol. I shake the feeling that logging out was itself a test, a pause in the story to see if I'd have to return. I slid back into my traversal suit, and hands trembling with anticipation. The narrow sink band tightens, the warmth flowing through the veins of the interface flickers into life. The gate to my infinite pulses in the center of my vision. A doorway, not just a story, but a revelation. As I settled into the pod, I run the last check. Respiration, pulse, brainwave, harmony. All normal except for a spike in the cognitive arousal and the data of the echo of the myth's anticipation. Our heart thrums with something between fear and hope. I initiate the login. The system hums familiar, but there's a delay, a hesitation, as if Mythnet itself is deciding whether to let me in. I watch the loading spiral and the crown glyph flickering in the background, and then the gate opens. But the interface is different. No security prompt. No retinal scan. No two-factor authentication. Just a line of text, white and black, blurring and burning into my vision. Welcome back, Adamant. My breath catches. There's no use this way. I wait for the usual onboarding and the familiar sounds. Cascade of my mispath options. The class overlays nothing. Only sounds, and then proceeding to quest 9. There. What shiver slides down the spine? A quest line isn't a known thread. It doesn't exist in the myth index. There's no dead, no rumors, no, not even among the deepest hunter words. It's as if the myth wrote it for me and me alone. I stare at the command, feeling the weight of the gaze, the crown, the eye, the light, the trajectory, all converging on this moment. The world feels poised, breath held, and waiting for my next move. Am I the gear? The well? The one being wound. Decisive moment. Disconnect for food reluctantly, but when I return, the Met's gate doesn't ask for credentials, it just says welcome back, Ermin, proceed with Isaiah. There is something cool I can do right now on this whole approach. On this whole approach, I can do something so cool right now. It's about what I did at the beginning. It's about what I did at the beginning. The actual first choice I did and wrote. Hold on. I'm gonna do something so cool right now. Hold on. I observed the moment of truth to say. Yeah, I'm gonna write this again. I can do something so fucking cool. That. I'm gonna write the same thing again. I'm gonna write the same thing again. I observe the moment. That's what I'm saying. This one's cool. This one's cool shit. Observe the moment of truth to decipher. Truth. Decipher. If this is a myth itself that's starting with my initial glance. If this is a myth itself. That's starting with my initial glance. Based on what I read. That's something so cool. And all right, and this is why it's so fun. This one's so fun. All right, so all right. This one's actually fun as shit. That's why I do my thing. That's why this one's so fun. This one's so fun. And my thing. Furthermore onto the thing. Alright. Out of all of those moments, did I actually, this is like the actual, this one is incredibly, it's the most, it's amazing, the most immersive of how immersive as it would be. Based on what I did. The flickering zitting over them. The hums of grace against every every chose in that echo this sense the sequences of my choices, the sequences of my choices of the impatience of the dance. To my senses of my reality, this might reality, this might be not observation and thoughts, not everything, close everything, repetition is the missing thing. Repetition that reveals the handy hand. That reveals the handy hand. Every time. Ever shift, ever shift, answer a question, answer a question, flickering at the edge of my vision, flickering at the edge of my vision, and then change the world I follow, stepping in the world I follow, stepping in the skin, colors and colors and textures and shadings and textures and shadings and narrative and light a narrative and light suddenly as it appears at suddenly as you see with butterfly as you see moved in a half a memory that's rolling the hall and I get a silver coin hall and I get a silver coin eyes and I say and inside this is something else. This is something else. It's like that I said, there's no there's no say, again, I really said this. I really said this. This one again. It's just this. Again, it's just this. I just like restaurants. I just like said it. I really didn't say what I said. Certain kind of way I said. Again, a certain kind of way I said. About me and again on a certain way. Again, on a certain what I really meant. Again, it's just what I really meant. And Drop in the coin that spins, drop in the coin that spins, and slow motion edges the grass red. Doesn't sound familiar, doesn't sound familiar. Flashings in the net, flashings in the net. Sigh again, sigh again. Pale translucent shards, pale translucent code. Aethera root. My MIF scanner locks onto it. My MIF scanner data signature is unlike anything. Data signature is unlike anything. Recursive encryption. I reach for the fragment. I reach for the fragment. My fingers trembling with anticipation and dread. A system message flashes across the HUD. Detected. For a moment, I see the flashes of every moment. I see the flashes of every branch. Perhaps each timeline. Perhaps each timeline. Releasing. Vegas voice trust that channel is speed drops to zero. I hesitating in the moment. Myth observing. Or am I observing the myth I see? Or am I observing the myth I see? Again, it's just like my refusal to follow the script, my refusal to read the fragment even existed before I arrived, or did I? Before I arrived, or did I? Own recursive kind of glance of fucking observation, and again a certain sensation. Again, from the corner of my eyes, I'll say again. The corner of my eyes, I'll say. Again, the same kind of glances say. Decisive moment again. It's decisive moment. Tension, I guess. Like I can get away. I mean it. Again, a certain kind of way. I said with a certain kind of way. I said with. So that's awesome. It's actually another decisive moment. They said that was the last one. Alright. That's cool. Alright. glitched myth zone. Trickster class NPC breaks character mid-quest and says my full name, then vanishes, leaving behind a fragment labeled Aethra. I start to question what begins itself. The fragment beneath the nudge that will cause me to recall Overlays to begin with. Okay. This is cool. So I can do this for a while? You're saying I can do this for a while? You're actually saying that I can do this one for a while? This one is a while game? Like a while? Oh, okay. That's fucking dope. Again. That's like what I meant. This one's a wild one. This is just a real wild one. This one is like more immersive of like a game than I've ever seen. Again, this one was like actually like again like the importance of this one. Again, this kind of wonder what the story is watching. Again, the misnomorphs as they move forward with each footstep. Both a question and an answer that echoes through a layer of timelines, and I wonder, again, did my choices create this? Or did this create my choices with this? Again, the fragment, the Aethra root pulses at my side, and then it's this code signature that the looping back on itself, recursion and logical meaning. Every overlay, every myth pass that I've crossed, getting things tangled and together. The boundaries between them blur. Again, the kind of forest and the rooms, the shadowed gates and the overlaid in the top, again, on one another. The world struggling to decide which version should win. I let my mind drift into recursions, focusing not on the overlays, but on the causes. Is the myth waiting for me to act, or is my act what begets the myth? The fragment vibrates as if acknowledging the paradox. Said what? Paradoxical indeed. And again, paradoxical indeed. And again, the kind of way, the story that is really fucking great. It's really fucking great. That's just kind of like, it's just like story. Again, the process segue. So, and it's just like the process segue. So, and it's just like, that's kind of what, this kind of work of art that how to say. Again, I said a lot of work of art that how to say. Again, I said a lot of this. And it's just like ways that I can do. Again, so, it's just like that. The best codes. It's not just the best codes. It's not just reading you. Are you serious? Are you serious? Code spiraling inwards and outwards and fragments of code spiraling inwards and outwards. The nudge, the spark that starts the feedback loop. I question whether the overlays exist. I question whether the overlays exist. Attention to ensure self-forgetting a myth and then self-watching observations and getting a myth and then self-watching observations and then sensation. It's just like again, spotlight showing what it really is meant. Again, the spotlight showing this. It's just what it means. It's very meta. This game, I said. It's very meta. This game, I said. XCOM's flickering. You're stuck in a recursive challenge. The logs are building on themselves. Every action spawns a new method thread. You have an anchor the loop, or you'll they're lost overlays forever. Close my eyes, focusing on the fragment's resonance in the scene and the picture of the moment, the origin, and initial punch, the set in this again. Everything in the motion I ask myself, am I the observer or the observed? The answer doesn't come, only a hum. It's a hum of possibility, and then I said the gear well, and then I said, again a certain trajectory and all, again a certain kind of way, and all. Again, a mythic challenge, a sequence initiates, and then I just went with the runes and flares in the airs, the puzzles, the shiftings of story, a logical riddle, blooming in what begets itself. Again, a certain kind of way that I meant. Again, a certain kind of way on origin, again, a formation and origin. With a silence, letting the fragmented pulse, letting the overlays multiply in the collapse, then until the mist stabilizes. The doorway appears in an etch-a-sketch with the ground and in the observer's eyes, and said, again, the burning question of Mark, I step through. The world snaps into clarity. The overlays merge in this scene. Again, the myth-coded smoothness in my hand, and then a new item in. Bronze coins in the heavy warm and etch a sketch with the fire and the fox symbols, and I've never seen not in any run or any myth on any board. His voice faint and triumphant. You did it, whatever it is. Those coins, they're not in any database. They are running a scan. Nothing. They shouldn't exist. Over and watching the fire and the fog shimmer, and I sense the recursion, like holding in a question that begets its own answer, and then I just wonder in this, did the myths give these to me, or did I create them by looking for them? Hey, and then again, on a certain kind of wonder, I said, is it a matter of where I put the box in? This, again, a certain kind of way in a comparison, again, a certain kind of way in a story that I said, in a certain kind of craft. Is it a matter of just where I would put it at that? What begets itself? Would the box even be there if I didn't make one? Tax feed returns, breathless. See what happens. The myth's writing itself through you. Maybe the market will react. If net straight on the floor appears the blocks of codestone and familiar subtly, as if written into my hand, and it's never touched the world before. I approach the coins in hand and heart pounding with the curiosity and the dread. Multiplying across the screen and the world slows down after its hands freeze in motion. A system error that flashes. Transaction invalid and an item unrecognized. Again, the coins refuse to register. They overlays ripple with the world stabilizes in the myth nest, and logic fails to struggle to reconcile with this. What I created, or what has created me. A search stack that floods my heart. Shouts through the comms, panics. Being logged out, get ready, don't fight. The system resets, or you're risking a full myth crash. I don't resist the log out. letting the myth unravel, the overlays collapsing, the coins lost in the ether. I drift, not sure if I'm falling out of a story or being written into a new one. The world dissolves, and my HUD flashes when I slide. Unrecognized item or removed, session terminated, and everything goes dark. Decisive moment. I acknowledge the coins from the world, but in the reverse, like the collisions earlier alluding to the event horizons. My hands hover over the console, fingers trembling with the afterimage of those round coins that sketch with the fire and fog. One in my palm one moment and gone the next. The memory of them lingers, like an echo of the world collapsing in on itself. A recursion of the myth going wrong, and the event horizon, the collision point, keeps looping in my mind. I recall the way the world flickered, missed paths colliding, time running both forwards and in reverse. It's as if those coins weren't meant to exist here, or maybe anywhere. I feel watched, measured as if the myth is waiting for my next move. I reach for the 100 forms, and the only place left where the truth sometimes leaks through the cracks, the neural band sinks, the HUD overlays flickering as I prepare to post. I open a new thread, typing unlocked coins, fire and fog, event horizon recursion. Anyone else? Are you paying attention? My hands move on their own urgency and dread woven together. I attached the code fragments I managed to scrape before the terminal locked me out. For a moment, post sits there glowing real. I send the form stutters. The pixels smear across my vision. The screen goes blank, and I'm left in a digital void. I wait, the pulse racing for the world to return. A static hum fills my ears, and the telltale sign of a back-end process rewriting the world. I force myself to breathe, scanning the dark for any sign of response, any confirmation that what I found is real. The form reloads the sluggish as if the struggling to rebuild itself around a memory it wants to erase. I check my thread, gone, not just deleted, erased. No trace of the recent post, no shadow in the cache. I flip to my profile. The page takes longer than it ever has. When it finally loads, my post history is empty. Years of myth path reports, bug threads, even innocuous comments. All wiped clean. Vega pings me on a private channel, their voice low and tight. You try to post about the coins? I just saw the board's glitch. Your thread and it never made it. You're not even showing up in the user list. I clenched my jaw, frustration burning. It's like I never existed. Every record, every post, God, the system's or at least erasing what I found. And that's what I've said before, too. A myth. Jack brings in panic barely contained. That's not normal. That's not normal. Even now, full Banner leaves logs. This is back to the level. Like you stripped on a protocol. That's not supposed to run. Tapped into the myth code, desperate for any trace. I checked the deblogs, the debugs, feeds, the sublayer caches, nothing. It's like the system rolled back and reverted every trace. Existence to zero. Vega's voice is the bravado gone. If the system's purging, it's because you saw something, it was hidden. Those coins, they're not just an exploit. They're a memory. A paradox. A memory in reverse. I think the coins from a world on the other side of the event horizon, like something fell through and rewrote itself as it landed, a world remembering me or me remembering a world that never was. I tried to message the other hunters, private encrypted off board, every channel returns null. Each connection attempt fizzles and the system eating my words before they reach. The empty thread profile and the coincidence and the collision, and it all feels like